Hi, Dana.
Dana is a phenomenal creative. She designed our logo.
Yes, I checked out Dana's website today
Oh, awesome.
because I was like, all right, this is a perfect type of company that could be utilizing promotional items in the type of business that they do and helping their clients too. All right, Richmond, a couple hours down south from me. So, all right, well, why don't we get started? And everybody who comes late will just have missed all of the monologue that I had written. My name is Seth Weiner. My company that I'm here representing is myself. I'm also own a company called Sonic Promos. And I also started a company called Springboard, which is a consulting agency. And today I want to talk to everybody about promotional products, promotional marketing, what opportunities there might be in there for you to either use it for your existing business or for you to use it and implement it with your clients. There's a lot of money that's being left on the table oftentimes. And I think if you can learn some of the key questions to ask, you might be able to find that it's very easy for you to be the one making that money instead of people going online to companies like 4Imprint and purchasing their pens that you're not so sure what the quality is. So I got into the promo business when I was in college. I went to college in upstate New York at Ithaca College. And when I was in college, I was a rep for a fraternity and sorority company. And so I actually cut my teeth by basically selling lots and lots of merchandise to the Divine Nine. So if you're familiar with the Divine Nine, and I hope that you all are, then that every single day of about 5 years of my life was spent talking Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Alpha Phi Alpha. If I didn't name them all, I know there's more, but so and learning all their colors and knowing all the brands. And I would go in my car and I would go from college to college in upstate New York with paddles and letters and shirts and have people purchase all that kind of material from me. And it was fun and I enjoyed it. And then after a while, it's hard to keep up with the college market. And so I really moved more into the promotional marketing industry. And that's really what I want to talk to everybody about. So I put together a presentation. I'm going to share my screen now. If you have any questions, I'm reading the chat. I'm really conversational. Don't hesitate to stop me, and I don't mind stopping in the middle. But I will do my best to try to give everybody an understanding of what the industry is all about, and really how you might be able to get into it in your current business. That's really what I want to try to show is where some of those entry points are. Most people don't go to school and say, I want to sell shirts and pens when I grow up. So it's how do you get there? And most people kind of fall into it. You're either born into it, you marry into it, you used to work and buy a lot of them as a marketer, and you're like, well, I can do it myself. So that's kind of how you fall into it. So today, my hope is to show you some other ways that you might be able to get some entry into the industry. So let's see here. Hopefully you can see my screen, Michelle, yes?
Yes.
Awesome, okay. So promotional marketing, promotional products are made up of two major associations. There's PPAI and ASI. One is for-profit, one is not-for-profit, and they both have been doing research over the last 40 years or so with about 100 different studies to research the effectiveness and efficiency of promotional products as an advertising medium. So the value of promotional products is in their ability to carry a message to a well-defined target audience. So this could include items that you would get at a trade show, and hopefully we get to do trade shows again, included in direct mail and marketing. It can be used as a prize and sales contests. It can be used for holiday gifts for clients, employee recognition, consumer promotional giveaways, like buy this makeup and you get this free pouch, an item to mark a historical occasion or a milestone, and then of course things like uniforms and co-marketing opportunities. So what makes a promotional product different? Unlike traditional media that interrupts, promotional products actually engage. Particularly, they're the only advertising medium that has the ability to engage one or more of the 5 senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. And actually, at Sonic, we've done a couple of marketing pieces where we've actually sent boxes that have all of something related to each of those senses in it to really try to engage with clients and show them how, you can't smell a newspaper, well, other than what it smells like, but you're not going to get that lemon smell from a newspaper, but you could send out a scratch and sniff sticker and get that same effect. So because the products are useful and appreciated by the recipients, they're retained and they're used. They help to repeat the imprinted message many times, usually without added cost to the advertiser. And you can see some of the percentages here of how long people will hold on to things for. One way to actually see how long you've been holding on to something is to take a look at like a branded t-shirt or a towel, and usually they have a date on them. I actually have a t-shirt from 1988 that it's almost walking, but that tells you how long an item can really last for. In 2019, PPAI and ASI conducted annual industry promotional product sales volume estimates based on promo, and wearables actually came out on top. In fact, wearables has been the #1 category in the promotional marketing world for the last 26 years. Common items rise and fall, but wearables continue to be a pretty lasting item when it comes to items that people go to. You can use product campaigns, for a variety of different programs. So maybe you're doing a trade show, maybe you need to do something for PR. You might send a box out to a bunch of editors at magazines. So promotional products really can help to enhance whatever those messages and programs are that you or your client is looking to implement. Right now, one that I guess safety education is on there, and it's so new, but we're already working on work from home programs, and we'll soon hopefully be working on back to work programs. So companies are already beginning to look at what is work going to look like when you get back to it, and how do promotional items come into play. I can't tell you how many branded masks we've sold in the last 6 months, but it certainly wasn't something that we were thinking about 6 months ago, well, maybe 9 months ago. So as different types of programs come about, you can see how products can really be used to implement into them. And these are really some of the most popular. Health and wellness, safety, new employee are really, really big ones. And most companies now are looking for ways to engage and create culture. And these programs are really great ways. Just ask your client, do you currently have a safety program? Do you currently offer onboarding programs for your new employees? Those can get the wheels turning, and then you can sort of point them in the right direction. The use of promotional products is really great as it ties into themes as well. So, if you're doing something that's health and medical related, there's a lot of great products that you can use to push those types of messages. Right now, education, schools, and universities, we've had to be incredibly creative in how we've been engaging with these types of clients, because everybody's virtual or they're not virtual. How are you going to keep somebody engaged when they're paying $20,000 for tuition, but they're really not getting a $20,000 college experience? So utilizing promotional items have been very effective to help to encourage participation and more engagement in programs like that. And you can see going down some of the more popular program and product tie-ins that can occur. The use of products also is that they help people to connect. It really helps to make things be memorable. So oftentimes you can see which of these items are the most popular. Shirts continue to be, but at the same time, we always hear people say, I don't want another shirt, I don't want another shirt. And yet people always fall back onto it. It's clothing. Most people don't throw it away. And I think that's one of the reasons why it continues to be one of the top items that are out there. But you can see bags and writing instruments. And I would say this year, writing instruments is huge right now. Major uptick in usage because people are not sharing pens currently. And now we've got pens that have antimicrobial coating that have been put onto them to make them so that they kill germs. So we're definitely seeing an uptick in writing instruments. And we're seeing a bit of an uptick in drinkware as well because people are sticking to the tumbler or the mug that they have. But you can see even these types of products are pretty regular products that you're used to seeing year after year. And these continue to be the most effective and most go-to items when it comes to theme-related programs. The nature of advertising has changed. And that's one of the reasons why promotional products are so effective. You've got something that can be sitting on your desk for a year, and if it costs, $3.65, then you're getting a penny per return, and you're seeing it every single day. So that is where promo adds some added value, and it also has a lot of great ability to reinforce some of these other types of traditional advertising. And you can see that a lot. I mean, there's plenty of commercials you'll hear on TV, you'll see on TV or you'll hear on the radio, sign up now and get this free t-shirt. You see that all the time with like, please support these animals and, your $18 a month gets you this free t-shirt. Well, that's how those tie-ins are occurring. And the same thing is happening a lot with social media. People will say, the first 5 people to post to our Facebook will get X, Y, or Z item. So while these types of mediums are quick messaging, utilizing promotional items with them can help them to at least get a little bit more effectiveness. Let me see if there's any questions. Okay, I think I'm good so far. All right, so frequency of use. This is another one that's important. With promotional items, oftentimes it's a usable, functional, needed item, so people are using them very regularly. I've got the same mouse pad, and so and it changes out every year. So I'm using that several times a day. Some people have their favorite sweatshirt that sits on their work chair, and they put that on. So once a day. But you can see how frequency of use can help with the amount of repetition and how those items can stay in front of a person. Where they're kept. So this is also another place that's always important is knowing where your audience is going to be so that you're actually putting the right product in their hands. And for years, I always make the same analogy is you wouldn't give a ceramic mug to a bunch of people that are working on a road crew. It just doesn't make sense. You'd want to give them something that is more travel safe or is going to be a bit more durable or like an insulated cooler. So part of what is important in promotional items is not so much what the item is, but where are the people going to be when you want them to be thinking about your message? If you're a restaurant, then you probably want to be in the kitchen when people are thinking about what they want to eat. If you are a plumber, then maybe you want to give everybody branded, plungers or soap caddies or toothbrushes or any number of items that are going to be in a place when they're thinking about you the most? So those are other good questions to ask your clients when you're talking to them. 10 to 15% of adults between the ages of 17 and 35 go out of their way to dodge traditional advertising. I can tell you that when I'm at trade shows, I like to walk right in the middle because I don't want to potentially be pulled in a direction and talk to somebody that I don't want to talk to. And so as a result of that, promotional products provide a return on investment. 82.5% of people are willing to take a survey when they're presented with a promotional item. 70% of people are more willing to visit a trade show booth when they're presented with a promotional item. 41.9 are more willing to engage in social media when there's a promotional product involved. And you can all read, so I'll let you see the rest of it. But you can see that promotional items really provide a tremendous return on investment because they're driving an actual action. They also do a really good job on impacting perception. People have always a much more favorable perception of a company based on recall of receiving their promotional item. And I can tell you, just as a company that is in the business, we also practice what we do. So we send out lots of promotional items, and a day doesn't go by where we're not getting positive feedback, either in the form of, I use this item, or what's even more positive is when a client decides that they actually want to use that same item for their own program. So you can see that there's just a more favorable overall perception of the company in general, because I think there's that law of reciprocity, that people feel like they are going to respond to somebody who's invested in them. Promotional products are memorable. They help to build relationships with all sorts of different audiences, which I think is really fantastic. That you can take the same item, and whatever your message is, you can have it direct to whatever client you or prospect or customer or staff or prospective employee you want. So a couple of examples, and maybe you're familiar with them. How many of you have remembered when the Livestrong bands were raising awareness and money for cancer research, and then it exploded and everybody was doing wristbands in every color, in every style, and they're still fairly popular. That's a promotional item. It took somebody to come up with the idea of how do we turn a $1 piece of silicone into a multi-million-dollar program, but that's how it worked. Now, I don't know if anybody is standing in line in front of any radio stations anymore, but I certainly, we probably have shirts of our favorite music artist or our favorite sports team. And again, those are all promotional items. They help for you to present your own message, what kind of music you like, what kind of industry you're interested in, what kind of companies you like to support. And then, of course, when it comes to your coffee, everybody's got their favorite mug. And maybe it's got a brand on it, maybe it's got Mickey Mouse on it. We all have our favorite go-to item. And then, of course, now it's October, so everything is pink. And so lots of people are doing all of their branding, but they've added a pink element into it. So just changing color helps to change message or give a new perception. And I think that's something that's really valuable that promotional items can do that a lot of other media doesn't provide. So the numbers don't lie. 87% of people like receiving promotional items versus 33% who like getting print ads, or 27% who like TV ads, or 11% who like online advertising. It helps you to provide a recall. It helps you to develop the relationship. I've never had a time where I've called somebody and said, hey, did you get the journal that I sent to you? And they say, no, they will respond. So it helps to warm up the opportunity and the relationship. And then the value. We talk about, return on investment, return on impression. You could take a pen, a 50-cent pen that somebody's got, and if they're writing with that for, every day for 50 days, then that costs you a penny per impression. But you can see here that the average cost per impression on promotional items is less than a penny. Think of a calendar. You could buy a $2 calendar and that can sit in front of somebody for an entire year and think how many times they might be looking at it. So those are important things oftentimes to talk to your clients about when they're like, well, I don't want to spend $500 on pens. I'm going to spend $500 on this print ad. Well, you need to make sure that you can actually verify that business came from that print ad. There's got to be some sort of call to action. Usually a call to action is going to have some sort of increased cost. So those are things that promotional items can help to defray, especially if your messaging is on point. So usually we find the numbers is that 59% had a favorable impression of advertisers after receiving a promotional item, which we've talked about warming up the opportunity. 76.2% of people can recall the product or service and the message on their promotional item. I always ask people, what mug they're drinking from, where they got it. They can usually tell that story. Promotional items are personalized. They're highly targeted. They're very tangible and long lasting, and they have a great measurability with them. You can easily say we sent out 500 mugs, we heard back from 200 people, and we set up 50 appointments. That's something that other forms of mediums just can't do. And then this is where we sort of get to how do we get into it? And you get into it by becoming a brand professional. You're not a product peddler. That's sort of the first thing I like to say to people is, you're not the t-shirt guy, you're not the pen girl. You are a promotional marketing consultant. And a promotional marketing consultant understands campaigns, understands branding, understands innovation, knows what's trending, knows what's safe, asks clients questions like, who's your target audience? What is your objective? Because it doesn't really matter if it's the coolest mug or the softest t-shirt. If it doesn't get the objective that the client is looking for, even if it's a great job, they're not going to come back to you again and do it. So that's really how you can get into the promotional marketing business and how you can separate yourself very quickly from what's currently out there. So I'm going to end this part of the slideshow here. And let's close this here. All right, let me see here. Michelle, I don't see any questions. I could be missing something. Let me see. Here we go.
No, there's no questions in the
Good.
box.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the promotional marketing industry as it pertains to everybody, pertains to you. I've been doing this for 27 years now. When I got into it, I could look to my left and I could look to my right, and it was not a particularly diverse industry. And 27 years later, I can look to my left and I can look to my right, and it continues to still be not a particularly diverse industry. And it's challenging because we're in an industry where our clients are very diverse, and yet we have a supply chain and an industry that is not. And we've talked a little bit about entry points. And so I think that that is really the best place to get into the promotional marketing industry, is talking to your clients and asking them the right questions. And we've talked about some of them already. Who is your audience? What types of messaging is it that you are trying to convey? What is your budget? And then from there, you can really get into talking about product. So I did want to show you all some products, because I think it's important to take a look at product and understand how, where the products come from. So the standard setup of the promotional marketing industry is a distributor and supplier relationship. Sonic is a distributor of promotional items. Any of you all, if you were utilizing your business and you wanted to provide promotional products to your client, you would be a distributor as well. You would source your products from a curated supply chain. And there are currently about 3,500 promotional product supply companies in our industry. There are, just to give you a sense of diversity within our industry, of the 500 companies that have provided information of what type of company they are, minority-owned company they are, 10 out of 500 put down that they were Black-owned suppliers. So you're talking about 0.02%, a really small number. Now, on the distributor side, those numbers are higher, but they're not significantly higher. There are definitely more Black-owned distributorships in the U.S., but it's not a big number, and it does not make sense when there is so much opportunity that's being left out there, and clients that are not being serviced by people that can actually understand where they're coming from. I mean, when I started my business, I went to the Greek market because that was what I know. And from there, business grew out. As you all grow your business, you start with people that you know, and then you build out. Getting into promo is no different. Now you know the people, now you need to ask new questions. So decide what types of promotional items you want to sell. Do you want to be in the corporate gift business and sell really nice gifts? Do you want to service companies that are displaying at trade shows and offer opportunities like that? Right now, we're into the holiday gift time. So you might have clients that want to recognize their clients. So that would be a place where, if you take a look here at our website, I know we wanted to look at some products. Here's, for example, some of our cozy at home items. And so let's say I have a client and they want to send all their clients some blankets. And what we then do is we'll send the client the blanket, send them the information, we'll ask them for their logo, we'll size their logo for them, we'll want to make sure, and these are the places where you as marketing professionals can really shine. It's the difference between being a marketer and being a product peddler. Being able to eyeball a logo and know that it's not going to work. Because if somebody says to you, hey, we really want this pen, and we really want to put on this logo, the AAMA logo, you have to be able to say to them, you know, it's a great pen, but the imprint area is really super small, and you're not going to be able to fit any of this small text in there. You might want to consider something else. that's what immediately changes you from being a product person to a marketing consultant, because you have an eyeball for more than just the product. And that is one of the things that we're finding right now that companies are so desperately looking for. They don't just need product. They can get product anywhere. They need consultation. They need forward thinking. They need somebody who can ask the right questions and help them and then direct them into the items that are going to work best for them, or the program that's going to work best for them. So before we even get to product, again, we're usually asking questions like, what's your budget? Well, if they say our budget is $10, then it doesn't make sense for us to start showing them $50 items. And it doesn't make sense for you to spin your wheels showing ideas that are not going to hit the mark.
Yeah, Seth, we actually have a question on budget.
Yay, good. Because I'd love to stop talking.
Dana has a question, advice on managing minimums.
Yes.
One concern we tend to see is a large minimums and the client not wanting to have 2 to 3 times more product than they can think of handing out in a few months' time.
Yes, yes. Great question, Dana. And that is, it's like the magic pill, right? How do you do one of everything? And within the last couple of years, there has been a huge transition into one-piece minimum programs. I can show you. Let me show you. So, and it happens all the time, right? Because how do you get a company that's just starting out to say, okay, I'll buy, 1,000 pens when they've only got 2 or 3 people that are working for them? It's really difficult. So there are lots of low minimum programs that exist. You can find tons of items out there where we can do 100-piece minimums for small items, like pens and paper goods and, trade show handouts. There's lots of 100-piece minimums with small dollars. But what's been really popular right now, which I love, are the one-piece minimum programs. And the one-piece minimum programs are just that. And what we've done for clients is we've actually set up stores for them. And these items all only require a one-piece minimum. So as long as you can afford one piece, then you can order one piece of that item. So like, for example, if your client wants to send this desktop vacuum, which we all need because we're all eating at our desk, right? And they just want to get their logo put on it. And, hey, maybe they're like, look, we're going to prospect to 6 people. We're just going to get 6 of these. They can get 6 of them. They can get 1 of them if they want. So there are programs that have been developed now specifically to hit this topic, so that somebody's not in a place where, like you said, they can't foresee when they're going to be needing to use those items. Does that help? Did I answer the question? Hopefully.
I think so.
But we get right now, I'll give you another example, Dana. I've got a client that we're working with, and they are a mortgage lender, and they have 600 mortgage lenders that are individuals. So they all have their own individual budget. And while they work for the umbrella company, they all have their own budgets for marketing. Some people have, and that they're willing to spend, right? So some people might have $100 and some people might have $1,000. And so we've been asked to come up with some scalable solutions so that we can offer something to the person who has $100 and we can offer something to the person that has $1,000. So those programs do exist. It's best, this would be my advice on managing the minimums. It's best to find a program that they're working with to be able to build into it And if you can get them to, then you can help them to foresee where their needs are. Another thing that's good is finding a way to utilize products for multiple uses. So like, for example, if a company is doing a backpack for all of their new hires, they might also use that backpack when they have speakers that come to conferences. So they might say, okay, we're going to buy 25 for the new hires and we're going to buy 5 more for the speakers. And in this way, you get to have the savings and having ordered the 30 altogether, but you're using them for different uses. Hope that makes sense. Just shake your computer, yes.
Okay. Dana did say you answered her question and she said thank you.
Good. Okay, so I was a speech communication major in college, so I'm not joking. I really can talk forever, but I'm really going to try to hold us pretty strong to not much longer. So what I really want to do, because this is sort of different flavors for everybody, I'm not here to really try to sell you. I'm happy to provide you and your companies with promotional marketing services if you need it. I've put together a bunch of membership benefits for everybody, and I invite you to take advantage of whatever resources and programs we're offering as part of our sponsorship with the AAMA. But what I do want to say is that if you're interested in implementing promotional items into your current offerings, and like Dana, I'm speaking to the group, but I did check out your website, and promotional items is like one of the things that is just like the last thing you need to add to your offerings of services. You've got pretty much everything covered. If you or anybody else is interested in really getting into the business, that's a place that I'd really like to help you. And I started this company Springboard, and basically what Springboard is it's a learning lab. It's 4 parts. It's not, you don't have to do all 4 parts. If you don't want to do all 4 parts, you can do 1 part and be done with it, and that's it. But what we basically do is I work with you to unwrap you a little bit and get you to look at yourself a little bit differently and how you do your work. And then explain to you a little bit about how you can use your current skill set to get into implementing promotional items into your offerings and start making some of the $25 billion that's out there. Because I can tell you that by raising the game with good questions, you can bring a lot of opportunity to yourself that is just waiting to be had. So my offerings as part of our sponsorship is twofold. One is Sonic Promos member benefits. That includes 30 minutes of free art and design on any projects that you do with us. So if you need us for promo, we'll take care of helping you get your art done. We'll provide you free setups, 1 for each quarter, for any items that you might need. That, when you're a small business, those setups can really hang you up, right? So if if it's one thing when it's $5 for the item and you're buying, 25 of them, but when there's a $50 setup charge, that really, can hurt your budget. So we're going to offer some setup charges. The other thing I want to do, I had showed you our signature collection. So one of the things that you can do, either for yourself if you want to, is you can use the lowest listed price on our signature collection for all of our items. So for example, this apron, if you want this apron and you want 50 of them, you can have them at the $5.99 price. instead of the $10.48 price. Additionally, if you want to sell 50 aprons to your client for $10.48 and pay $5.99 for them, you're welcome to do that as well. So that's, let me pull this back up. So that is a pricing benefit. The other thing I want to offer is a free branded sample with your company logo from any of the items that are in the signature collection. So on our website here, go and take a look and see if there's something you'd like to see, and send me your logo or send me a client's logo, and I'll slap that logo on the item and I'll send it to you. And you can either send it to a client to warm up a relationship, or if you really want, you know, your own Bluetooth speaker with your logo on it, we can make that happen for you as well. So those are the Sonic benefits. And then the other benefit is that I'd like to offer everybody the first part of the Springboard Solo. So the first month, which is the warm-up. Super low pressure. You just have to be willing to answer some questions about yourself, and be willing to take a look at yourself, and be willing to own whether or not you like what the answers turn out to be. That's what I say to people, right? Change is difficult. You have to be willing to make change. But I feel really strongly that if you're interested in the promo business and learning how it can provide a new revenue stream or become your only revenue stream, between working with you through the Springboard and helping you access resources through Sonic, I feel really optimistic, and I'm super excited about the partnership and relationship that we are getting off to between us and the AAMA. And I think I'll stop there with my last thing, and that is I'm not a creep, so I didn't look everybody up and try to find their emails and phone numbers and things. I'm Seth. My email is Seth, S-E-T-H, at sonicpromos.com, sonicpromos.com. If you send me an email, I will send you a link to our redemption portal. This is our redemption portal. We set these up for clients all the time. We do lots of corporate gifts for them. And all I want you to do is, when you go there, click the surprise me, add it to your cart. And when you check out, in the notes, just write AAMA and fill in all your information, and I will send you the best marketing kit you've gotten in the last 3 months, guaranteed. And that's pretty much where I'm going to stop. I hope to have an opportunity to talk with you all individually. Please look to me as a resource to answer any questions that you have if you want to start putting your feet into the water here. And yeah, I got to stop myself or I'll keep going.
Seth, I appreciate your generosity. I know in the chat, there's definitely some ears perking. So I'm hoping a few people will reach out to you. I actually have a few questions.
Sure.
Before I get into my questions, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A and then put all good comments in the chat, please. One of my questions is, and you kind of touched on this a little bit regarding trade shows and the pandemic. So what do you think the future will be regarding trade shows and just especially large events in the next 6 to 18 months? And then how can we leverage virtual events with promotional products?
Yeah. If only I had the magic ball, right? That I knew all of the answers. I will tell you that the trends that I'm seeing is, and I've got a couple of clients that do a lot of events. So I try to take a page from what they're doing. A lot of them are not planning live events through the end of next year. So I have yet to have a client give us a date for a live event. We have been doing almost exclusively virtual engagements. And that has looked like pretty much what you would expect it to be, where everybody has their own creepy looking avatar and they look like they're walking kind of slow through some sort of virtual reality conference room. You can interact with virtual trade show booths. We actually just did a virtual conference last week. And for that client, they did digital gift cards for everybody who came by their table. So we ended up sending them gift cards for Amazon or whatever. So there's a lot of different answers to the questions. How can you leverage? Well, you can leverage right now by getting ahead and finding out what your clients' calendars are going to look like, right? If you know that they're all virtual, then you need to start thinking about what types of items that looks like. And I can tell you, it's really been changing like all the time. For the first 6 months, everybody was sending PPE and safety related kits. I expect that events that will be a opportunity for one thing, is that anybody that's putting on events is going to be expected to have their safety game up at a high level. And so for example, like we have a lot of clients, I'll pull up for you to see. We've been doing things like, you've probably seen all these. The promotional product industry has moved so much, like we are selling stand-up hand sanitizer stands. We're selling, hands-free, the stands like that. I'm trying to find the barriers for you. So that's where opportunity is as well. What are your safety precautions going to look like? If somebody else is already selling the tote bags, not everybody else is asking them, do you have barriers set up for, at every table? So we've got, like, for example, we can set these are really inexpensive that you can set up right on a trade show table. And it's a clear barrier. So you could say to a trade show conference planner, look, we'll get this and we can get them branded with every one of your sponsors. So if you want the magic, one of the magic things, which we've really been trying to uncrack, is how to get sponsors to participate in sponsorship in virtual events. That is the biggest challenge right now that conferences are facing in the virtual world, because those conferences make a lot of their money out of sponsorship dollars. Well, those sponsorships are usually with an expectation that there's going to be happy hours and face-to-face meetings, and nobody wants to throw down 25 grand if they're not going to get that face-to-face. So being able to come up with creative sponsorship engagement, those would be great. And that's an area that nobody's really cracking into, is to be able to come to an event coordinator and say, look, here's your $10,000 virtual sponsor experience. Here's a $5,000 virtual sponsor experience. Here's a $25 virtual sponsor experience where we're going to give them a trip around the world. And so you're doing something maybe with digital filters, but you're also maybe sending them like a branded passport holder or some sort of bag or whatever. So I know it's sort of a long answer to your question, but I don't foresee live events coming back anytime soon. When I do, I expect it to be, let me rephrase that. There are already live events that are going on. They're usually like in cars, or they're really, really spaced out. But if we're talking about like events and conferences where people are walking, overseas, we've started to do live events and everybody is masked and they've got face coverings on. So those are places that is the opportunity. So as soon as somebody is hosting a live event, your question should be, what's your safety protocol look like? And right now, for virtual events, it is, what does your sponsorship programs look like? Those would be some of the sort of key points right now that we're going through with a lot of our clients, because they're losing sponsors because they just don't see the value in the interaction in the virtual the way that they do in the live. And that's where promotional items have actually been a bit more effective, because we are offering still that gift for the interaction. It's just that they don't walk away with it like they do at a conference. It has to get shipped to them. So it's not as quick of a return.
Yeah, that's some good food for thought. We do have a question by Mika. Are there any segmented packages? For example, if I have a real estate client who I'm offering an open house kit or open house kits.
Yes. So we, the answer is yes. Let me just take you, just to give you the data. Just, long story short, really long story short, many years ago, we won an award and for our own self-promotion. And when they gave us the award, they spelled our name wrong. They didn't spell it Sonic Promos. They spelled it So Nice Promos, S-O-N-I-C-E. So, you know, we made lemonade out of lemons, and we started a kitting company. And these are actual kits that are already curated. But just to give you an example, we curated this particular kit. If you've got a real estate kit and you want to, you know, and your realtor wants to, you know, have like you said, an open house box, we can find the right size box for you. We can put in there, you know, like maybe she wants a business card magnet, a pen, and you know, a cup, you know, a coffee mug or whatever. We can easily curate a package together like that. And you can do it with a standard box. You could also do it with a custom box if you want. But we love doing curated kits. And the other thing, which is great, I had showed you the Org Audio. They also have, and there's lots of these, but they also have lots of kits and bundles that, again, all of these one-piece minimums. So if your realtor happens to know that the person that they just sold a house to happens to like a little, you know, nip of vodka and play cards, you could go and order this one kit and send it to them. Does that help?
Yes. Can you have more than one distributor if you decide to get in the business?
So you are the distributor.
Right.
You have it's the suppliers that you have multiples of.
Okay.
So, for example, this company, Org Audio, is one line of product, and whereas our website, for example, is made up of a number of lines of product. So like, for example, if I have a client who wants Under Armour, then I'm gonna go to my Under Armour supplier and I'm gonna source my Under Armour gear from them and send it to the client. Gotcha. If the client decides that they want a tumbler, then I'm gonna go to whichever company sells this particular tumbler, and I'm going to send them their artwork, and they're going to brand the tumbler, and they're going to ship it to the client for us.
Gotcha.
That's how the supplier distributor relationship works.
This makes a lot of sense.
Now, there are also hybrids. There are sometimes where you'll, like, oftentimes, if you've ever been at it, like, I don't know if you've ever been, some people have been to a screen printing company. Sometimes you'll see a place where they're actually doing screen printing of apparel, and they also sell promotional items, but those items are not in their, they're not on site. They're still being ordered from somewhere. So for example, like you would normally order Under Armour and it might ship from Chicago, and you might order your Yeti tumblers, but they might ship from California. So those are also important things that you're going to want to find out from your clients. When do you need this? Where is it shipping to? You know, if they need it in 3 days and it's shipping to DC and it's being made in California, then they might be looking at a lot of rush fees. So that is the reason why you actually do have a nice curated list of core suppliers, so that you've got areas to go to when you need to get your food gift, right? You're not, while there are companies that sell food gifts and like hard goods, oftentimes you would normally go to a branded food company to get your branded food.
That makes a lot of sense.
Good.
I appreciate this information. I used to work at a law firm, and we spent a lot of money on promotional products. And so the offer you have lent to the members is very generous because it adds up, especially on the setup and design fee.
It does. So. I know it. And it's one of the things that ends up sort of holding people back, right? And so the best thing to do to see the power of promo is to get the promo in hand. So, yeah. You know, we want to try to make it a little bit easier. And, you know, the other thing is now there's a lot of items out there that don't even have setups, like these items with the one-piece minimums. They don't even have setups as part of them. It's all incorporated in there. And that is also something that has evolved as far as, you know, design. You can print full color logos a lot more easily nowadays than you used to. So there are a lot of intricacies. There's a significant learning curve, as is anything. But if you're interested in it, there's a lot of money to be made in it. And I would be really excited to work with the membership and help you all see how you can get into this business. Whether it's doing it on your own, having me help you and mentor you for a little while, and then you go on your own, or you just drop everything that you're doing and you just start working for me tomorrow, and then, you know, we're good. So, but I digress. So hopefully you all saw my information. I put my email in the chat. Again, I please encourage you to reach out to me. We can do a lot of good stuff one-to-one. I look forward to developing our relationship as we move forward.
Yes, thank you. Everyone, I thank you for attending the event. Just a few things. We do have another event on Tuesday, October 27th, discussing the state of Black marketers. So please buy your ticket for that. It's $7. Membership is also available for $50 until the end of this year. You can visit aa-ma.org for more details. Let's see.
And the new website looks awesome.
Thank you. And if you can turn the screen share off, please.
Yes.
So. Okay, so this thing is acting funky again. So please go to the website for more details. We have the upcoming event for membership, and then follow us on social media. AAMA, AAMA Houston on all platforms. This recording will be available early next week. I'm going to go ahead and start a YouTube channel, and I will send a link for that. So Seth, once again, thank you for your wisdom. Everyone, thank you for your attendance, and y'all have a great evening.
Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.